Shalom. All praise and honor and glory going to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai by Hashem Krakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to you, Akim, that's out there pushing this truth with all honesty and sincerity by way of the highways and byways. And also by way of the internet. This is your brother Nayap, and I'm back with another news update. Without further ado, I'm really just going to get into it. Got, a couple little videos, whatever, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes in length altogether. So yeah, it's just another news update. This is for fair use. I'm not getting no money from these videos or anything like that. I'm not getting no types of money, no types of income from any of this. It's only for educational purposes only.
Iranian ballistic missile strikes focus on key Israeli military sites such as Nevatim Air Base near Beersheba and Tel Nof Air Base, both of which house the billion-dollar Israeli F-35 fighter jets and other high-value assets. Additional targets included the Hatzerim Air Base in the Negev Desert and the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. Iran has launched its largest ever attack on Israel, firing 180 ballistic missiles. These missiles traveled more than 1,000 miles from this valley to reach Israel's most populated city and military sites. Iran used variants of the Shahab-3 ballistic missile in its latest attack on Israel. The Shahab-3 is the foundation for all of Iran's medium-range ballistic missiles and uses liquid propellant. It can carry a warhead weighing between 760 and 1,200 kilograms, which translates to 1,675 and 2,645 pounds. The missile can carry a single or multiple warheads, depending on the variant. The warhead separates from the single-stage rocket after it has traveled about more than half the distance to its target. The most prolific Scud variants had a circular error probable of 300 to 450 meters. This means that 50% of the missiles fired at a target would land within a circle of that diameter. Hypersonic missiles are a challenging technology to master because they are so fast that if the U.S. launched a Scramjet missile, it could reach China in just 18 minutes, traveling at speeds of Mach 5 and above. These Scramjet engines collect oxygen from the atmosphere as they travel, mixing it with hydrogen fuel to create the combustion needed for hypersonic flight. As we all know, Mach 1 represents the speed of sound, which serves as our benchmark. To better understand this, let's make a few comparisons. Commercial airliners, for example, fly subsonically, just below Mach 1. In contrast, modern fighter jets can travel supersonically, reaching speeds of Mach 2 or 3. When we refer to hypersonic speeds, we're talking about anything Mach 5 and above. Space shuttles are an example of vehicles that travel hypersonically, often reaching speeds between Mach 20 and 24. But these can travel only for short distances at this speed. To sum it up, a hypersonic missile should cross Mach 25, which is around 19,000 miles per hour. Before we looked into how Fatah missiles managed to penetrate Israeli air defense, we have to understand how Arrow 3 missile works. The Arrow missile defense system consists of three basic parts: the missile launcher unit, the green pine radar antenna, and the Arrow missile. The missile launcher unit is composed of 6 erector launcher tubes housing ready-to-fire missiles. Positioned at the rear of a 2-axle trailer, each launcher, when fully loaded with 6 launch tubes carrying ready-to-fire missiles, weighs 35 tons. The green pine radar serves as the warning and fire control radar for the Arrow 3 anti-ballistic air defense missile system. It plays a crucial role in target detection and guidance. The Arrow operates as a 2-stage missile. Let's look inside this engineering technology. This is the solid propellant booster and sustainer rocket motors. At the rocket's peak sits the ignition chamber, triggering the combustion of the solid propellant when activated. This propellant isn't just any substance. It's a meticulously crafted blend of fuel and oxidizer poured into a casing and then cured. Encasing this blend is a protective shell called the motor case. At the core of the rocket lies the propellant burning zone. Here, the solid fuel and oxidizer react, producing incredibly high-temperature combustion gases, which helps to launch the rocket at incredible speed above the Earth's surface. Moving further to the front, the most important part of the missile is the kill vehicle, which can be divided into 3 basic parts. The second stage is the propulsion system with a thrust vectoring nozzle. Just above it is the warhead, a directed high explosive fragmentation weighing 150 kilograms, which translates to 330 pounds. The third stage is the Seeker, capable of pivoting itself to track its target. But what's the big deal about this long-range anti-ballistic missile system? Let's start with the propulsion system the famous THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, uses a divert attitude control thrusters. In comparison to the Arrow 3 kill vehicle, which utilizes a thrust vectoring nozzle with a solid fuel rocket, it has a shorter and more limited burn time. It has a few advantages, one of them being the ability to compensate for a lack of radar accuracy. When the radar sends the interceptor to an inaccurate target location, the Arrow 3 kill vehicle can adjust its trajectory. Since intercontinental ballistic missiles travel at very high speeds, the kill vehicle must change its trajectory based on newer, more accurate radar data from its seeker. A failure to fully divert the course to the new target would result in a failure to intercept. Now let's take a look how the Israeli defense system works. The Israeli defense system consists of 3 tiers. First up is the long-range aero missile defense system, which was designed specifically with Iranian missiles in mind. Each of these system rockets costs a few $1,000,000, and they can intercept missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere, resulting in enhanced protection. The second layer of defense is the so-called David Sling system, designed for taking out missiles and drones. Finally, the Iron Dome stops most short-range rocket attacks in Israel. Let's take a look at why the Iron Dome failed to intercept the Iranian ballistic missiles. Apart from discussing the multi-layered missile defense system, the Iron Dome itself has a range of around 40 miles, while the David Sling can intercept ballistic missiles up to a range of 180 miles. The top-tier Arrow anti-ballistic missile systems can target threats up to 1,500 miles away. According to reports, 180 ballistic missiles, which are possibly hypersonic as claimed by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, were launched. Although the Arrow missile defense system successfully intercepted many missiles before they reached Israel, many still got through. The main problem behind the failure to intercept was after the detachment of the glide vehicle from the launcher. The glide vehicle can change its trajectory multiple times, which confused the Arrow missiles. This maneuver also bypassed the David Sling and finally the Iron Dome system, which is not designed to counter hypersonic missiles like the Fatah II model. As a result, the interceptor missed for targets and the glide vehicle landed on military bases where the $100 million F-35 jets were stationed. Let's examine the cost implications of a single day of missile attacks. Iran expended over $200 million by launching ballistic missiles along with drones, whereas the IDF spent $1 billion to defend itself. This includes the Arrow missile, which costs around $2.5 million. The David Sling costs around $1 million to produce, while the Iron Dome costs around $20,000 to $100,000 for a single missile, depending on inflation. By contrast, Iranian ballistic missiles cost around $200,000 each, and its drones only $20,000 to $50,000 each.
Right now, if you have an issue with your Social Security and call the Social Security Administration to ask about it, this is who picks up.
How can I help you today?
Can I speak to an agent?
To better serve you, please briefly explain the reason for your call. How can I help you today?
I didn't get a check in April.
The 2025 Cost of Living Adjustment, or COLA, for Social Security and Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, beneficiaries is 2.5%. The standard Medicare Part B premium is $185 per month. If you're finished, feel free to hang up. Otherwise, how can I help you today?
That's enough to make you crazy. I mean, that was Social Security's new artificial intelligence chatbot. It is not particularly intelligent. It's
breaking news that we are following for you on the other side of the pond in Liverpool, where there was supposed to be just a fun event celebrating Liverpool's big championship from soccer, but now it has turned into tragedy as a car has drove into a crowd of people at the victory parade. Here is just some of the scenes that we are looking at right now. And again, this is still very early on. on. The investigation is ongoing. They do have the driver detained right now, and we are also learning some updates from the Prime Minister of Prime Minister Starmer, who describes what happened in Liverpool as, quote, appalling. He says, "My thoughts are with all those injured or affected. I want to thank the police and emergency services for their swift and ongoing response to this shocking incident."
World, wherever you look, if you see conflict, people diligently slitting each other's throats, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in Africa, it's because of diversity of ethnicity, of language, of religion, but primarily of race.
So you want to live in a white-only country?
Not necessarily white only, but a country that is clearly based on a European model in which whites will basically remain the overwhelming majority in perpetuity.
Okay, how do you achieve that?
Well, that's an excellent question. Donald Trump has got some first good steps in mind. He wants to make sure no more illegal immigrants come into the country, and he wants to make sure that all illegal immigrants here go back. He wants to end birthright citizenship. He wants to put at least a temporary ban on Muslim immigration.
What happens with Asians? What happens with African Americans? What happens with Latinos?
What happens to my
You presented me with a very limited view of the United States.
You're saying the United States is a place anybody can come and turn it into anything you want, and the people who built this country and established its institutions, if they glimmer away, so what? You are promoting a process that will reduce my people to a minority. You want more power for Latinos. That comes at the expense of my people's power.
We're 17% of the population,
Right.
and we only have 3 senators. So therefore, we don't have the political representation that we deserve.
And you want more and more and more.
Of course, because we only have
How
3
much?
senators.
How much political?
At this point, 14 senators.
And 50 years from now, how many would you like?
Let's talk about 50 years from now. In 2044,
Yes.
white non-Hispanics will become a minority.
Yes.
Is that what you're afraid of?
Mr. Ramos, it's fantastic for you, for my people to lose power and become a minority. That's fantastic for you. How does it feel for
Because
me?
it is our country.
Our country, our...
It is our country. Don't you think we both have the same rights in this country?
I think that despite this nonsense in the Declaration about anybody being anyone,
Excuse me,
white
you
people,
don't
the white
think
people...
we are all created equal?
No, what you want to do is change this country into an entire nation in which white people will become refugees in their own land
So
if your vision comes through.
You don't want to live alongside Mexicans.
Now, why is it wrong for me not to want my neighborhood to change? If my neighborhood is European, if my neighborhood they don't keep chickens in the backyard that crow at 3 in the morning.
What are you
They
talking
don't.
about?
I'm
That's a
talking
complete
about
stereotype. That's a complete stereotype.
Yes, and stereotypes are all true.
It's a racist stereotype what you're saying.
Oh, racist! Give me a break.
What are you going to do with the thousands of Muslims,
We certainly.
American citizens, who are serving in the military?
I'm sure that we just couldn't possibly survive with all those Muslim Navy Rangers. Yes, I'm sure that's true.
That is not right.
No, I'm talking
You cannot
about
make fun of people who are saving our lives.
They want special holidays and special food.
So if you don't like their religion, you don't have to join them. That's fine.
Well, no,
but,
they are. Wait,
but also,
not,
but you can't discriminate against them simply because you.
Of course, anyone should have the right to discriminate against anyone he wishes. And the point is,
But not by the law, Mr. Taylor. You can't do that.
I think the law is absolutely incorrect.
Do you feel that whites are superior? They're more intelligent than blacks?
I think, on average, whites are more intelligent than blacks, and North Asians are more intelligent than whites.
How can you say that?
How can you think otherwise?
Mr. Taylor,
What sense would you have to think that a pygmy is, on average, is just as intelligent as a Dane? Why would you think that? The entire record of history is completely consistent with the assumption that black Africans are less intelligent on average than Asians or Caucasians.
That's absurd. That's repugnant and absurd.
Repugnant to you?
Yes, of course.
Why would you even entertain the possibility that on average a pygmy is as intelligent as a Japanese?
The comparison that you are trying to make, it is simply impossible because of historical circumstances.
Yeah, y'all seen that right? She was just now eating a dog. Y'all seen that? Y'all seen that exactly right. I'm just gonna move on.
Is freaking out after
President Trump's newest announcement. This time, they're not even trying to hide it. As soon as Trump announced the new Golden Dome idea to protect the United States and Canada, China comes out in full force, saying that this messes up the global strategic balance, and it warns the United States to abandon this idea and abandon any deployment of defensive systems. I wonder why CCP is freaking out after President Trump's newest announcement. This time, they're not even trying to hide it.
היום כבר אפשר, ברוך השם, להתפלל בהר הבית, להשתחוות בהר הבית. אנחנו מודים לקדוש ברוך הוא על כך, ונמשיך. אנחנו כאן תפילה בשלומם של החטופים, שיחזרו הביתה כולם בשלום לניצחון במלחמה. האויבים מכסחים.
هذه الرسالة بالتزامن مع الاقتحامات المتتالية واستباحة المسجد الأقصى والمجازر الدموية في حق أهلنا في قطاع غزة هي رسالة تحدي لهذا الاحتلال، والتأكيد على أن الشعب الفلسطيني سيبقى في هذه الأرض، لن نغادر هذه الأرض مهما كان الثمن.
אנחנו נשמור על ירושלים מאוחדת, שלמה, בריבונות ישראל. והדברים קשורים כמובן גם במלחמה הנוכחית, מלחמת התקומה. אויבינו צמאי האדם שתקפו אותנו באכזריות נוראית ב7 באוקטובר, קראו לטבח הזוועות שהם ביצעו מבול אל-אקצא, תופן אל-אקצא. והיום הם כבר מבינים היטב את גודל מבול החורבן שנפל עליהם.
We have some big news right now. Get ready for increased prices. Walmart is set to increase prices because of tariffs by the end of May, by the end of this month. Donald Trump once told Walmart to, quote, eat the tariffs. It doesn't appear as though Walmart is going to be eating anything. The only people that are going to be eating the tariffs are going to be the people that shop at Walmart. But Walmart's not the only company that is going to be raising prices by the end of the month and potentially into June. We have confirmation that shoe giants Adidas and Nike will be raising costs on products this summer. We also have confirmation that the toy giant Mattel will be raising prices on a whole host of toys coming in to America as well. When Donald Trump said that American children should expect less Barbies for Christmas, he meant it because they're going to be a lot more expensive once these tariffs really take effect. A 90-day pause on many of the reciprocal tariffs is coming to an end very soon, so prices may even go up even more. Spread the word. I'll have a full breakdown of this and more on my Substack, link to my bio, so subscribe for free and follow along for all the news you need to know about.
Take a good look at your screen as we are following breaking news. It takes us out to South Carolina. This news just into our live now from Fox Studios on this Memorial Day. The Associated Press reports at least 11 people were taken to hospitals after a shooting Sunday night in a South Carolina beach town. This coming from local authorities. The Horry County Police Department not giving the conditions of anyone hurt, nor have they detailed how they were injured in the incident. We're learning it happened around 9:30 p.m. in Little River. Investigators were getting reports of more people arriving at the hospital in private vehicles. Horry County Police confirming this on social media. Take a good look at your screen as we are following breaking news. It takes us out to...
Took me a couple days to make this because I wanted y'all to see it before I even put it out there. Harvard, another college. This ain't just funeral homes. This ain't just hospitals. There is people in on this. I could sit up here all day and tell you how I was right.
So the Trump administration has proposed a bill on lowering the age of dependents from age 18 to 7 years old. From 18 years old to 7 years old. So what they saying is, your 8-year-old child will not be eligible for tax credit, food benefits, and government assistance. At 8 years old, they are saying at 8 years old, you are able to fend for yourself in this America. What they saying is your 8-year-old can go out, get a job, work, pay bills, pay taxes, cook, take care of the family, and file as the head of the household. An 8-year-old who's in 2nd grade. Make this make sense to me. Make this make sense to me. How can an 8-year-old not be eligible for food benefits and government assistance if needed? But yet they proposing this bill to make it where 8-year-old will be just like me and you, grown adults who can take care of themselves. You can't make this up. But if you would have read Project 2025, this is all in the playbook. All in the playbook. But yet, people get mad at us because we tried to warn y'all about what was going to happen if y'all elected this clown. And this was going on.
Do y'all believe me yet? Another mass casualty, just like all the ones I've been showing you over the last 3 days. This one in Philadelphia, again on the East Coast. I've been telling y'all something's wrong with the human brain, and y'all wanted to argue. This happens to be about the 6th mass casualty event. I think the 3 just in the United States. Every single night on the East Coast of the United States, there's a mass casualty event. Now, the one in Philadelphia I just showed you included like 200 teenagers. I believe like 10 went to the hospital. Of course, what just happened in Liverpool, and I have no idea, not related, what could be causing this. I mean, y'all, people are just flipping out for no freaking reason whatsoever. It's literally like something just flipped in their brain randomly, and always at.
Children should not have access to pornographic content. This is why today the Commission has opened investigations into Pornhub, Xvideos, StripChat, and XNXX under the Digital Services Act. We suspect that these pornographic platforms are not properly assessing and mitigating risks stemming from the services and not effectively preventing kids from accessing adult content.
Good evening, Brad. President Trump's patience appears to be running thin. The White House is actively reviewing sanctions options, and already the Senate has a veto-proof bill ready that would slap 500% tariffs on any country that buys Russian energy. So far, though, the response from Russian officials has been to dismiss Trump's statements as emotional overload and taunt him. Putin lackey Dmitry Medvedev, who served as the bridge between Putin's presidential terms, posting an implicit threat as President Trump weighs harsh sanctions on Russia. Medvedev posting online, quote, regarding Trump's words about Putin playing with fire and really bad things happening to Russia, I only know of one really bad thing, World War III. I hope Trump understands this. Trump is increasingly frustrated with Putin. Peace talks stalled as Russia continues to rain missiles and drones on Ukraine. This weekend, the largest aerial attack since the war began.
The new variant has spread to 22 countries and now accounts for more than 10% of global COVID cases. The report also says that these numbers are likely much too low because testing has slowed and some places have stopped counting COVID cases altogether. The CDC says that it has now been found in California, Washington, Virginia, New York City, with additional cases in Ohio, Rhode Island, and Hawaii. In China, there's been 81 severe cases over the past 4 weeks, including 30 people who lost their lives, with the vast majority of them coming from people that were over 65 years old. The new variant has spread to 22 countries and now accounts for more than 10% of global COVID cases. The report also says that these numbers are likely much too low because testing has slowed and some places have stopped counting COVID cases altogether. The CDC says that it has now been found in California, Washington, Virginia, New York City, with additional cases in Ohio, Rhode Island, and Hawaii. In China, there's been 81 severe cases over the past 4 weeks, including 30 people who lost their lives, with the vast majority of them coming from people that were over 65 years old. The new variant has spread to 22 countries and now accounts for more than 10% of global COVID cases. The report also says that these numbers are likely much too low because testing has slowed and some places have stopped counting COVID cases altogether. The CDC says that it has now been found in California, Washington, Virginia, New York City, with additional cases in Ohio, Rhode Island, and Hawaii. In China, there's been 81 severe cases over the past 4 weeks, including 30 people who lost their lives, with the vast majority of them coming from people that were over 65 years old. The new variant has spread to 22 countries and now accounts for more than 10% of global COVID cases. The report also says...
And with that, till next time, Shalom.